Some fight scenes are just style without substance, and some fight scenes are all substance and no style. But what makes a great fight scene is when you combine them both. Let's take a look at them separately, and we'll start with a fight scene that is more substance than style. That fight scene is from the film Batman Begins. Now, a fight scene with substance will evoke an emotion out of the audience and will make you feel invested. What's at stake here? The stakes need to be high, it's personal and relatable. We care about the journey, and that's all here in this scene. And we're not even close to finishing the film at this point. Here we understand that Bruce has blamed himself for his parents' death and has carried that guilt with him for so long. Yet, at the height of this fight scene, Ducard assures Bruce that his parents' death wasn't his fault, but that it was his father's. And this angers Bruce, and we, the audience, are rooting for him because we feel for him and his reasoning for the things he's doing, and we want him to win and prove his master wrong. And we get this slight sense of hope for him here. However, he is defeated and set down quickly. Ducard states that his father's unwillingness to act was his downfall, even if he had no training. The lesson learned here is there's no hope without the will to act. I'll even throw in another fight scene that's all substance and no style. And that's the fight at the end of the film Batman Begins. There was a lot on the line here with Batman fighting Ra's al Ghul in a runaway subway train. Without getting too deep, it was a fight scene where, it had great substance. You had Master up against Apprentice, and now you got the Apprentice has become the Master. The fight scene itself was pretty dull. It was visually flat and unimaginative as it was just two dudes throwing punches, elbows, and grunts back and forth at each other. Both of these fight scenes that I mentioned have something going for them, but just lacks visual components or visual action components to make them stand out more. Everything is there. Now we just need to elevate the action and we're good to go. So let's see what happens when we elevate style but lose the substance. Stylistic fight scenes are pretty much the opposite of a fight scene that is just substance. Think of it as a very attractive person but with no personality. Here's a fight scene that is all style and no substance. The Batfleck Warehouse fight scene in BVS. It looks cool, but I don't care about Batman in this moment. Going to go save Superman's mom, Martha, or anything else in that matter. Yet I am visually stimulated by the creative brutality being displayed in this fight sequence. So what makes a great fight scene is what I said before, and that's when you can combine style and substance. Great example would be the ending fight scene from Star Wars Episode 1 and Episode 3, but I'm primarily going to focus on Episode 3. What can I say? This fight scene has a lot going for it. The setup and relationship is there between both characters that's built up between 4 films. You have father versus son, brother versus brother, master versus apprentice, uncle versus nephew, or however you want to view it. The emotion is set and it is there, and we know what's on the line. And not just that, we also know the outcome of this fight, and that says a lot, which is crazy because deep down we want there to be a different outcome, and that tells you right there that we care. We care a lot for these characters. We have 2 Jedi Masters up against one another in a stunning visual fight scene like no other, and it's compelling. George seriously went all out here, and it shows. I chose this fight scene as an example of what makes a really great fight scene by having both substance and style. I'm not saying this is the greatest fight scene of all time, but it's a darn good one. I'm just saying.